Buongiorno ragazzi and welcome to the first of our two review videos for the midterm. Today we are going to review 5 topics. The first vocabulary list with items from the classroom, the indefinite articles, the definite articles, the plurals, and the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay? So I will show you an image, then I will remind you of the word in Italian, and then of the definite and the indefinite articles used for that term. Questa è una calcolatrice. Calcolatrice. The definite article would be la calcolatrice. The indefinite article would be una calcolatrice. Calcolatrice is feminine and it does not begin with a vowel. So the definite article is la, the indefinite is una. Questo è carta. Carta. Carta is feminine and does not begin with a vowel. So la carta for the definite article, the paper. Una carta for the indefinite article. Questo è un computer. Computer is masculine, but it does not begin with Z, GN, or S plus consonant, and it does not begin with vowel. So, il computer for the definite article, un computer for the indefinite. Questo è un dizionario. Dizionario, dictionary. Same case as computer. It's masculine and it does not begin with S plus consonant, GN, Z, or vowel. So, il dizionario, un dizionario. Questa è una finestra. It's feminine and does not begin with vowel. So, la finestra, una finestra. Questa è una lavagna. Same case as finestra. La lavagna, una lavagna. Lavagna does not begin with vowel and it's feminine. Questo è un libro. Il libro, un libro. Masculine and it does not begin with Z, GN, or S plus consonant nor vowel. Matita, feminine, does not begin with vowel. So la matita, una matita. Orologio. This is masculine and it begins with a vowel. So l'orologio for the definite article and for the indefinite un without the apostrophe. Penna. Penna is feminine and it does not begin with a vowel. La penna, una penna. Pennarello. Pennarello is masculine and it does not begin with vowels ZGN or S plus consonant. So, il pennarello, un pennarello. Porta. Porta is feminine and it does not begin with vowels. So, la porta, the door, una porta, a door. Notice that the definite article equivalent of the is always in red in these slides, and the indefinite article, the equivalent of a or an, is in blue in these slides. Questo è un professore, vero? Maschile, masculine, and it does not begin with any of the special cases, vowel, Z, GN, or S plus consonant. So, il professore, un professore. Il femminile è professoressa, female professor. Does not begin with vowel and it's feminine. So, la professoressa, una professoressa. Questo è un quaderno, masculine. Does not begin with Z, GN, S plus consonant or vowel. So, il quaderno, un quaderno. Scaffale. Now, scaffale is masculine, and it does begin with S followed by a consonant, in this case, SC. So in this case, masculine and S plus consonant, we say lo scaffale, the shelf, uno scaffale, a shelf, lo and uno, because it's S plus consonant and masculine in gender. Scrivania. Many of you want to pronounce scrivania, but it's actually scrivania. Scrivania. This is feminine and does not begin with a vowel. La scrivania, una scrivania. I know that it begins with S plus consonant, but it's female, right? It's feminine. First you consider the gender, and only afterward the gender you consider the beginning of the word, right? Questa è una sedia. Chair, sedia. Feminine does not begin with vowel. La sedia, una sedia. Questo è uno studente. Studente, masculine student, begins with S followed by a T, which is another consonant. So, lo studente, uno studente, the student, a student. The feminine version is, of course, studentessa, feminine word that does not begin with vowels. So, la studentessa, una studentessa. Then, questo è un tavolo, maschile, does not begin with any of the specials, S plus consonant, ZGN, or vowel, so il tavolo, and un tavolo. Questo è uno zaino, zaino, backpack, it begins with Z, and it is masculine. So in this case, lo zaino, uno zaino, right? Begins with Z, and it's masculine. Università, college or university, right? Università. It's feminine, and it does begin with vowel. What happens in those cases? L'università and un'università with the apostrophe. How about this whole thing? Classroom, aula, right? Which is feminine as well, beginning with vowel. So l'aula, un'aula with apostrophe, okay? We have just reviewed the vocabulary for the classroom, the definite articles and the indefinite articles. Let me remind you now of the actual rules for the articles. Let's start with the indefinite. It is the equivalent of a or an, right? We said this is a short word that comes before the noun, and it tells us whether we're talking about something specific or something in general. The indefinite is the one that tells you that we are talking about something in general. There are 4 versions, uno, un, una, or un with apostrophe. So the rules are like this, right? This is review, of course. There is a previous video about this. I have divided the table in 2 columns, one called maschile for masculine and one femminile for feminine. That's the first thing you consider, whether the word is masculine or feminine. Let's look at the left side, if the word is masculine. In 3 cases, you use uno for masculine words. When they begin with Z, like zaino. When they begin with S followed by another consonant, like studente or scaffale. And when they begin with GN, like gnocco or gnommo, right? Please always remember that it needs to be S followed by another consonant, okay? The simple S at the beginning is not enough for you to determine that you need to use uno, okay? That S needs to be followed by another consonant. And then in all other cases, cases which are, very, very frequent, words that are masculine and do not begin with GN, Z, or S followed by another consonant, in all of those other cases you use un. Okay? Un libro, un professore, un orologio, un tavolo, un quaderno. Now let's look at the feminine side. 2 cases. When the word is feminine and begins with vowel, you use un with an apostrophe. Un'aula, un'università. And in all other cases, when they are feminine words that do not begin with vowels, you use una. Una matita, una penna, una professoressa, una studentessa, una finestra, una porta. Okay? This is the indefinite. How about the definite? Again, you have 4 options. You can use il, lo, le, apostrophe, or la. And it is the equivalent of the. It is the article that tells you that you're talking about something specific. So again, two columns, one on the left for maschile for masculine, one on the right for femminile for feminine. In the same cases in which you use uno, namely beginning with the S plus consonant or GN, you use lo. Lo zaino, lo studente, lo gnocco, lo scaffale. When the word begins with a vowel and it's masculine, for the definite you use L apostrophe, l'orologio and l'uomo. And in all other cases, which are the most frequent, you use il libro, il professore, il tavolo. Okay? Now for the feminines, it's just like the previous one, right? With vowels, you use L apostrophe, l'aula, l'università, and in all other cases, la studentessa, la matita, la penna, you use la. Okay? Those are the rules for the definite articles. Now let's go back to our vocab. Cos'è? Cos'è means what is it? So cos'è, you're supposed to answer with una calcolatrice, a calculator, right? Adesso contiamo, let's count. Una, due, right? Now we have two calculators. In English, you say calculators, you just add an S. But in Italian, I hope you recall, the rules are different. How do you construct the plural of calcolatrice? You say due calcolatrici. The rule is E goes to I, right? Where's an E? Change that E for an I in the plural. Una calcolatrice, due calcolatrici. Allora, cos'è? Carta, right? But how many? There's no, let's see, I count 5. I might be wrong, but I count 5. So, cinque carte. Carta ends in A. Carte ends in E, right? A goes to E. 5 pieces of paper. Cos'è questo? Computer, vero? Un computer. Contiamo. Let's count. Uno, due. What's the plural of computer? Due computer, right? It does not change. Words that end in a consonant do not change in the plural. Cos'è questo? Un dizionario. Contiamo. Uno, due, tre. Plurale di dizionario. Dizionari, right? O goes to I, so tre dizionari, 3 dictionaries. Cos'è questo? Una finestra. Contiamo. Una, due, tre, quattro. And what's the rule for words that end in A? A goes to E, so quattro finestre, 4 windows. Cos'è? Una lavagna. Contiamo. Una, due, tre, quattro, cinque, sei. 6 lavagne. A goes to E. Cos'è? Un libro. Contiamo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And what's the plural of libro? The rule is O goes to I. 7 libri. E cos'è questo? Questo è una matita. Contiamo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Plurale di matita? Matite. A goes to E. 9 matite. Cos'è? Un orologio. Contiamo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Plurale di orologio? Orologi. 4 orologi. Notice that for this one, the rule is O goes to I. If I follow that rule, I end up with 2 I's at the end. Orologi, right? We mentioned that with very few exceptions, you do not double the I's, right? So it's orologi with just 1 I. Cos'è? Una penna. Contiamo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Plurale di penna, penne. A goes to E. 8 penne, 8 pens. E questo, cos'è questo? Un pennarello. Contiamo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Plurale di pennarello, pennarelli. 6 pennarelli. Cos'è questo? Una porta. Contiamo adesso. 1, 2. Plurale di porta, A goes to E. 2 porte. E cos'è questo? Un professore. E una lavagna, right? He has a blackboard behind it. E un libro. He is holding a book. So un professore e una lavagna e un libro. Remember that A without the accent just means hand, right? Contiamo. 1, 2, 3. Dunque, E goes to E, 3 professori. Sorry, E goes to I, or A goes to E. 3 professori. Now, A goes to E, e 3 lavagne. O goes to I, e 3 libri, right? Professori became professori because E goes to I. Lavagna became lavagne because A goes to E. Libro became libri because O goes to I. Adesso cos'è questo? Una professoressa. E una lavagna, vero? E un orologio, because there's also a clock on top of the board, right? Adesso contiamo. 1, 2, 3 e 4. 4 cosa? Plurale di professoressa, professoresse. A goes to E. 4 professoresse. Plurale di lavagna, lavagne. Again, A goes to E. 4 lavagne. Plurale di orologio, orologi. O goes to I, and we do not double the I. 4 orologi. 4 professoresse e 4 lavagne e 4 orologi. Okay. Cos'è questo? Un quaderno. Contiamo. 1, 2, 3. 3 quaderni. O goes to I. Cos'è questo? Uno scaffale. Contiamo? 1, 2, 3, 4. Plurale di scaffale, scaffali. 4 scaffali. E goes to I. Cos'è? Scrivania, vero? Una scrivania. Contiamo adesso. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 scrivanie. A goes to E. E questo è una sedia. Contiamo adesso. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sedie. A goes to E. Cos'è questo? Uno studente, vero? E cos'è questo? Cosa sono questi? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cose. Remember, Italian is sexist, right? So we have 4 studentesse here and uno studente. 4 female students and 1 male student. But because of that single male student, this becomes a masculine group. So 5 studenti, right? E goes to I. Adesso cos'è questo? Una studentessa, a female student. E queste cosa sono? 3 studentesse, 3 female students. Cos'è un tavolo? Contiamo. 1, 2, 3. 3 tavoli. O goes to I. Cos'è uno zaino? Contiamo adesso. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 zaini. O goes to I. Cos'è? Un'università, difatti la nostra università, our college, right? A college, un'università. Contiamo. 1, 2. 2 cosa? 2 università. It's not université because that has an accent and words that end in accented vowels do not change in the plural, right? E poi un'aula, vero? A classroom, un'aula. Contiamo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 aule. A goes to E. So we've been reviewing the the vocabulary again, but also the plurals, right? How do you make plurals? How do you make it so that words communicate the meaning that there's more than one of the things they name? So the rules that we just applied are as follows. When a word ends in O, it changes to I in the plural. When a word ends in A, it changes to E in the plural. When a word ends in E, it changes to I, right? Or for short, O goes to I, A goes to E, E goes to I. Then, accented vowels do not change in the plural, and words that end in consonant do not change either. The rules applied with some of the words that we just used. Libro, which ends in O, becomes libri, O goes to I. Porta, which ends in A, becomes porte, A goes to E. Studente, which ends in E, becomes studenti, E goes to I. Università stays università because that A is accented, and computer remains computer because it ends in a consonant, so it remains the same. Words that end in consonants in Italian tend to be borrowed from other languages, such as computer, which comes directly from English, so they don't change in the plural. Lastly, let us review some numbers. Uno, due, please pronounce with me. Even if this is just a video, it's good for practice. Tre, quattro, with a little pause. Cinque, remember C with I uses its soft sound, ch, cinque. And you, with QU, you do pronounce both letters, cinque. Sei, sette, again a little pause, and yet another one in the next one. Otto, nove, 10. Okay? So in the second part of the video, we reviewed the vocabulary list again, and the plurals and the numbers from 1 to 10. The rest of the topics for the midterm will be reviewed in a second video. Grazie ragazzi. A dopo.